Hi everyone, I'm Ryan. Today, I'm going to give a talk which is about microplastic pollution in marine protected areas of southern Sri Lanka. And at first, let me introduce what are microplastics, which abbreviation is MPS. And microplastics are plastic particles is smaller than 5 millimeters, and their common shape are fragments, and their common polymer type are polyethylene, like this. And this is what microplastic look like. And we grew microplastic based on whether they are intentionally manufactured to be of microscopic size, which are primary microplastics, or derived from fragmentation and degradation of larger plastics, which are secondary microplastics. And you may want to know what kind of microplastics are more abundant. And the answer is secondary microplastics. Microplastic cause severe consequences on animals like seabirds. Seabirds are prone to ingest microplastics. Prone means easily to. And microplastic can reduce birds' food intake, and ulcers will form in birds' digestive tract, or cause other sublethal and lethal effects. And microplastics influence sea turtles' hatchling sex ratio and reproductive success of nests or other cardiac effects. Corals. Microplastics cause coral disease outbreaks increase from 4% to 89%. Another main point that I'm going to introduce is marine protected area, which abbreviation is MPA. It is an area of intertidal or subtidal terrain, and together with its overlying water and associated flora, fauna, historical and cultural features, and it is reserved by law or other effective means. In 2004, Staub and Azziolos developed scorecard approach to determine the management status of marine protected areas. And according to that result, Sri Lanka's marine protected areas management status was regarded as poor, and various human activities and degradation of natural resources happen continuously. And in this research, we want to know the prevalence of microplastics in Bandara National Park, which abbreviation is BMP, and Hikkaduwa Marine National Park, which abbreviation is HMP. And our aim is to generating microplastics baseline data to investigate the extent of contamination and guide further research on the ecological impact of microplastic contamination. Then materials and method. This is Bandara National Park, and blue dots are water sample size, and yellow dots are sand sample size. And we only focus on yellow dots only on these 7 subsites, is B1 to B7. And this is Hikkaduwa National Park. We only focus on these 5 subsites. And all these 12 subsites, all the examples from these 12 subsites are analyzed to determine the abundance of microplastics. And we use some tools to collect samples. And for coastal and lagoon water samples, we use plankton net, looks like this. And for benthic sediment samples of lagoons, we use Edmund grab, like this. And benthic means the bottom of water. We categorize microplastics based on its size ranges, shape, and color. And large microplastics size ranges between 5 millimeter to 1.1 millimeter. And small microplastics ranges between 1 millimeter to 0.5 millimeter. And the common shape of microplastics are fragments, filaments, films, foams, and pellets. And the color of microplastic we observed are usually white, blue, green, or red. And for large microplastic, we identify the polymer type and oxidation level by using spectroscope. And for small microplastics, we use red to stain on the samples, and then we can distinguish them if they are microplastics. And result and discussion. This is a chart, and the x-axis are 12 subsites, and y-axis are the abundance of microplastics. And green bar is high tide line, and blue bar is dune. Dune means sandy hill. And we only focus on B1 site and B6 site. And as you can see, B1 site has the maximum abundance of microplastics on high tide line, and B6 site has the minimum. And this is B1. B1 is here near this river, and B6 is here. And B1 has the maximum abundance of microplastics because it is adjacent to river mouth. And southwest monsoon current also pushes microplastic onto the B1 site. And B6 has the minimum abundance of microplastic due to its strong wave action. Microplastics may be removed by strong wave action. And let's focus on B4 site and B5 site. As you can see, B4 site has the maximum abundance of microplastics on dune, and B5 has the minimum. And B4 is here, B5 is here. And B4 has the maximum abundance of microplastics because the high wave action on the high tide line removes and redeposits microplastics. And over time, microplastics get blown into the dunes at B4 site, where they gradually accumulate. And B5 is a site was selected due to its fishing activities. But B5 has the minimum abundance of microplastics, so the results indicate that the fishing activity itself do not necessarily contribute to microplastic pollution. You can see there is a trend, decreasing trend of abundance of microplastics from B1 site to B7 site. This is because the sampling was conducted on 2nd of October in 2018. And in this month, southwest monsoon generally operates and pushes current flow from west to east. So this could be the reason for the increment in microplastic from B7 site to B1 site. And this is southwest monsoon, this is from west to east. And let's focus on H1 site. Compared to other sites, H1 has the highest abundance of microplastics both on high tide line and dune. H1 is here. That is because H1 is close to fishing harbor, and because the pollution in Hikkaduwa National Park by this fishing harbor coincides with the presence of high percentages of polystyrene particles in both high tide line and dune coastal samples. And as you can see the chart, Hikkaduwa National Park shows the higher abundance of microplastics than Bandara National Park. That is because Hikkaduwa National Park is located near a fishing harbor, a populated urbanized city, and a highly visited tourist beach. And compared to Hikkaduwa National Park, local sources of plastic and microplastic are very low in Bandara National Park, and the only major contributor to pollution into Bandara National Park is from ocean currents. And this is a table. And you can see the size of microplastic in BMP is lower than HMP both on high tide line and dune. Because BMP is located in a high energy zone, So wave action could accelerate the fragmentation process. And besides, Bandarban National Park is located in the dry zone of Sri Lanka with high ultraviolet radiation, and which could increase fragmentation even further compared to Hikkaduwa National Park, which is located in the west zone of Sri Lanka. And this is a chart. And x-axis are 12 subsites, and y-axis are the abundance and the polymer percentages of polyethylene, polypropylene, polystyrene. And let's focus on these light green bars. We only focus on light green bars, it represents polystyrene. And you can see PE is the most common polymer type because of a wide range of PE products in fishing. And our conclusion is microplastic pollution is significant in both marine protected areas, despite protection of these areas or the remoteness of the area. And further research is needed to investigate the impact of microplastics on marine organisms and to determine ecological impact to the ecosystems. Thanks for listening.
I want to know what is sublethal and lethal means in your introduction page.
Oh, you want to know what is sublethal and lethal means? Sublethal means about to die, and lethal is die. Yeah.
The primary microplastic and secondary microplastic, which one is more fatal?
Which one is more fatal? Which one is, you want to know primary microplastic and secondary microplastic, which are fatal, which are more fatal? Microplastics are group based on a group of primary microplastic and secondary microplastic. So whether they are primary microplastics or secondary microplastics, they are all microplastics, so they are all fatal.
Is there any difficult to perform this research?
Is any difficult to
conduct this research?
In this research, we don't get some biological data, and we need to improve our biological place to research. You say BMP is located in high energy zone. So I want to ask, what is high energy zone mean? Okay. You want to know what is high energy zone means? High energy zone means it has strong wave action. So wave action could accelerate the fragmentation process.
You mentioned in your introduction, you mentioned about the common shift of the microplastics are fragments, but it's not actually correspond to the papers I read, because I read about them are mostly fiber, and it's called filaments in your paper. So do you have no any idea about this?
Can you repeat it again? Simplify.
Oh, in I read other papers about microplastics, and their common shapes are mostly filaments. But you introduce in your introduction, you say that their common shapes are fragments. So do you have any idea about the difference about the fragments and fibers?
Well, I think in this research,
You have to repeat shortly. What's his question?
you want to ask you have looked another paper which the microplastic common shape is not fragment, it's filament, it's fiber. So you want to know why this paper shows the common shape is fragment. Because I didn't mention it. In this common shape, this microplastic common shape is fragment because it is due to we are sampling at that area in Sri Lanka, Bondana National Park and Hikkaduwa National Park. So the common shape of microplastic are fragments in that area. Yes.
I think this is a kind of survey-like paper. So usually these kind of paper are easiest to present because you understand all the axes. You understand each word and you understand its physical meaning, so they are easy to understand. But on the other hand, it's difficult to make it very interesting. So here are some comments. So first of all, I think Ryan, he gave a very smooth talk, so he talked very calmly, smoothly, and it's easy to understand all of his words. And I think the way to make the talk more interesting is, first of all, in your introduction, here you have a lot of, you spend quite some time introduce these concepts. And the first thing is to add more image. Yeah, I know you add image here and image there, but still you can, to catch people's eye, that's how you can do it. Add more image. And then here you talk about these two parks. And then later on, at some point, you start to discuss the difference between the two parks. But you have to keep in mind that none of us are familiar with Sri Lanka. And then here, you say this park has more microplastic because of this reason, and that park has less because of that reason. But this is a little bit like storytelling, which means you didn't show us evidence. For example, we don't know where is the urbanized area. I don't know. Where is the capital? Where is the recreation area? I have no idea. And I don't know the current system of the, for example, you say we have a current here. I don't know. So, which means to avoid the feeling of storytelling, because that's a big difference between scientific presentation and the storytelling is you show evidence first and then you tell us something. And in this study, because the authors, they are from Sri Lanka, they know their homeland very well, but we are not. The audience, they are not. So I would suggest that here you try to explain some of the pattern here, and then currently what you do is you just cite what the author wrote in their papers. But and therefore your discussion is full of text often. So what you can improve your presentation is you try to look for additional information of Sri Lanka, like what is its current system, where is its urbanization area, and relative to these two national parks. And therefore, in this way, you can better support your argument and make it more interesting. And of course, when you look for this kind of data, it's better in the way of maps. And then, if possible, because this is these two national parks is a little bit abstract to us. If you can look for, if you can find photos of them, that would be best, because I really have no idea how their beach will look like. And then when you discuss, currently it's nice that you show data, and then you discuss the pattern right away. And you also add map. But the best way, because the map is not super complicated, so the best way is you have space here and space there. You can even just add a text box and covers unnecessary place like this, and you can just put your key points directly on the map. This will give us a better orientation of where we are talking about. Because I already get confused of these two parts, which one is which. And then this is a little bit related to the content, because I know you didn't write a paper, but there's a place where you talk about like a fishing activity is not really contribute to microplastic pollution. I don't know if the author really writes this way, but I think my personal feeling is fishing activity, of course, produce plastic waste. The thing is, the plastic waste do not necessarily deposit at the same spot, because you say current is important in transporting this microplastic. So, and later on, you also say other places like with harbour, you find the microplastic. So there is some obvious contradiction in your argument. So you need to find a way to reconcile these contradictions. Okay, so overall my suggestion is in your introduction, try to add more image, and in your discussion, instead of just writing these texts, you'll find maps of this area, show more geographical, geological information of this area to support the argument written by the authors. Okay, thank you, Ryan.